What's up, everybody? We're back here again for episode 22 of the Pitside podcast. As always, I'm Preston Cranmer here with Roger Craig. This week, we're going to talk to two of our Geforce Racing League contributors from Scott Herwitt and Ben Koelsch. I hope I said that right. So we're going to get started in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Pitside Podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the Geforce Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Now here's your hosts, the A-Lit Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bassman Craig.
Yeah, so we're back. So I have to tell you, Roger, this week has like flown by. I feel like we just recorded an interview with Bergeron two or 3 days ago.
I know.
And it was crazy getting set up tonight. It's just like I felt like we just did that. It's just kind of funny. Usually it feels like it's been like a ton of time, but it didn't this week.
I had this. It was the same feeling for me too. No, we did that. I think we did that on a Thursday. Did we do that Thursday night? And then now we do it Wednesday. But it's yeah. So we do a Wednesday or a Thursday or whenever, but that's typically when we do it. So no, it's been a pretty good week, and I want to give a shout out to teammate John Shorty. Just came off the Elite, ran second. He was running lead. He had the lead in that race. He was running the bottom, and Moonen was running the top, and it just it went away a bit for him. But he was controlling that race. And last week, I think it was the Renegades, wasn't it, that he dominated again and almost won it, finished second. So two P2s. So for Crates Racing, that's those are great numbers for sure.
Yeah, we've been running pretty good lately. We've definitely stepped up our game. Shorty's a big reason why. You know, he's a big setup builder, so he gets the majority of the credit, no matter who's up there.
Absolutely. And I think you and Terry had a successful night the other night in another league.
Yeah. So Tuesday night we actually ran. It was a money race. It was fixed 410s, and so that's been one of our focuses. Is we'll run whatever, but we're a sprint car team first, and that's the way we want to keep it. Obviously, with our association with Don and all that makes sense, and that's what we all love anyway. So Terry actually sent me the link to it, and just said, hey, are you guys interested? So we skipped midgets, which was a bigger deal for Terry than me. So we went and ran. It's the TCR iRacing Winter Series. They put on. Apparently, this is the second year they've done it, I believe, where they call it the Super Bowl hangover. So I don't know if it's been the same night every time, but their race night after the Super Bowl, it's a money race. It's not usually a money league, but it's a fixed 410 money race. And so we just decided to get out there, and I watched as people were registering, and I was seeing some other league guys pop up. So Matt Croakey was in the race, who I chatted with him a couple of times, and we were laughing about how his adrenaline was still pumping from the winning the Renegades race the night before. So he was super pumped. I was glad to see him win.
That was awesome to see. Matt got sent down to Rebels last season and just came back up. So he was just sort of at the bottom of the bubble there, and to see Matt do that was his first victory in Geforce. So that's cool. We kind of deviate, and there's another reason why we wanted to talk about that other race that you're talking about.
Yeah,
so I'll send it back to you.
So Matt ran pretty well. I think he got caught up in something late. Kenny Miller was in there as well. He ran really well. I think he was towards the front, I believe. Terry and I ran decent. So Terry and I both got caught up with the same guy. I'm not going to name names, but I probably should, honestly. But anyway, we both finished 9th and 10th. Terry was hard charger, started 17th, and pushed his way all the way up to 9th. So, I mean, awesome. It was a fun race. But Lane Snook was the Geforce standout by far. The money race paid out for the top 5. I don't know exactly which positions paid what, but I know the top 5. In the top 5, there were 4 pros, like with their pro card, run World Outlaws or whatever, the late models, because I know Blake Majulis was in there. But Lane finished slam in the middle of them in 3rd place, and
that's awesome,
and based on the recap that I read, he was right at a 10th off of second place at the end of the race, and might have had something for the leader had it been more than 28 laps. So it was a lot of fun. They put on a good race. I was pretty impressed with that. I think they're a pretty new league. I think, but it was a good time, and Lane was very impressive. It was cool to see.
That's very cool. Congrats, Lane. That was good when we heard that you were right up there with running with those pros. So Brandon and the boys must be rubbing off on you. That's for sure. And so yeah, that's cool. Before we get to we got two great guests on this week. We've got Scott Hurwitt. Scott's been in the league. I think he's been in the league for 2 seasons. We'll get into that somewhere. Might be another bet that I'm going to win. And the old guys ruled on last Sunday anyways, that's for sure. And you had to watch last week's show if you know what I'm talking about. But we got a big charity race coming up. And so by the time this is broadcast, the details will be out. But we'll be running a dirt modified charity race. All proceeds will go through the Steve King Foundation to Grady Chandler. And if you don't know about Grady, you will within a couple of weeks, because we'll be talking about him a lot. But another great cause. And we hope to have somebody on, either from the family or from the foundation, to talk next week on the podcast. So
and so the big deal about that race is it's I think we're racing for Grady 150 where we've landed, and it is going to be the final race will be a 150 lap feature. So it's an endurance race in a lot of ways.
So it's a fixed 358s. It's the most popular dirt car on the iRacing platform right now. So should be lots of interest in that, and then the distance as well. It'll be 2 qualifiers on us. We're doing it 27th, 28th of February. There'll be 2 qualifiers on the Saturday, and then last chance and the championship on the Sunday. So stay tuned for that. There'll be lots of information coming out, but we wanted to just at least mention that and to get that ball rolling. And we are looking for a sponsor. We'd like to broadcast all the races. So if somebody is willing, it's a great cause to put your name to. And we'll promote the snot out of your company or whatever. But it's a good one to be associated with. And we're just looking to cover the cost of the broadcast and maybe a few door prizes. So if anybody's got some interest out there, contact Preston or I, and we'd be glad to get it all hooked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you got anything? I got a couple other things to talk about, unless you've got some things you want to...
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, because we got 2 great interviews coming up. We got, I had said Scott Hurwitt, and then also Ben Kelch. And, 2 interesting dudes that run in our league, and those are going to be good. So I don't want to get in the way of those too much. But a couple other things we want to talk about is we ran a trial last week for Daytona, like NASCAR, and it was well attended. We had, it was good. We do the Friday afternoon ones if anybody's interested, and we were limiting those to free tracks, etc. But this other one, what we're talking about right now is if there's enough interest shown, we're going to run it for the next few Saturdays. So we'll be at Daytona. Well, that one's over. It was Daytona, and it was 50 laps, and we're using the Cup car. But the tentative plan is to run the NASCAR schedule. So wherever they are running on the Sunday, we'll run on the Saturday. And we'll run a quarter of the length. So if it's a 500, we'll do, I'm trying 125 or whatever the hell. That doesn't add up. Whatever it was.
See, that's when we needed Scott. That's when we needed Scott with his pure math.
Yeah, with the pure math. That's right. So anyways, so that's something to look forward to, and I think there's a lot of interest there. But I've got to emphasize, it's a fun league. If you really want to get serious about NASCAR, go run a NASCAR league, because we're dirt guys. We don't even know. We're depending on guys like Aiden Young and Charlie Bragg and to tell us what the rules are, because we don't know when to pit, when not to pit, and there's all these little technicalities. Guys get black flags, I think, for passing the pace cars or coming down the pit lane or something. So it's just a chill out. It's a bunch of dirt racers, and we have a good time. So come on out and run with us. And then the other one too, I'm pleased to announce that you know, you can just turn your mic off, Preston, because it's got nothing to do with you, but your dad will be interested. In fact, he's already a member. We're reviving the retreads, but it's going to be 60 and over. We have got a ton of guys that are like we got a guy that just joined last week. He's 78 years old, and he runs. I forget how much he runs every week. He runs like 80 races a week or something. I may be making up a number, but like this guy's, he's running all the time. So we got a bunch of guys that are 60s, 70s. So it's an extension of the matinee leagues that are so much fun and chilled out. So if you're over 60, contact me and we'll get you hooked up, because we're gonna have a great time. It's all the guys that run at the back will now be running maybe towards the front, so because there'll be nobody in front of us. So it should be a good time. But that's all I got really league wise. So let's get into these interviews, because you know, we'll just run one after the other. I think, we'll just you go from one to the other, and that'll be the show, because two interesting dudes to talk to, and don't want to take up any more of your time.
Yeah, we'll start with Scott here, and then as soon as we finish with Scott, we're going to jump right over and talk to Ben. We appreciate everybody watching. Again, please watch to the end. Both these guys are really cool. They do a lot for our league and otherwise too. So again, we'll see you back here again next week, and see you out on the track.
Yep. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. So we are here with a very special guest. Somebody just came on board a couple seasons ago, and we're glad to welcome Scott Hurwitt on the show. How you doing, Scott?
Good, Roger. Hi, thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, so Scott, I think it was last season you came on board, right? This is your second season with us. You started, or were you longer?
No, this is first season. This is my first season. I just transferred divisions in the middle.
You didn't race with us in the fall season at all?
No. No, not at all.
Well, you stepped up and sponsored us, so I thought you had already been racing with us. You sponsored us right out of the gate.
Your reputation precedes you as a good leader.
No, you know what? I'm going to go back and check the old stats, because I think you raced last year. So I'm just fresh off winning a big bet on the Super Bowl with Preston. Just crushed them. So I might put the same bet up to you. Next time we're at the track, if I'm right, then you buy my ticket. If you're right, I'll buy your ticket. So I think you raced last season.
Nope, I qualified at Weed Sport this year.
Okay, so I still think you did. So are you on for that?
All right, so we need to make some clarifications here. If he ran recruiting races last season, does that count?
That counts. Oh, yeah, shit, that counts. Absolutely, man. So, okay, well, are you on for that, Scott? First time we get to a track together, the other guy buys the end.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, because what I didn't tell Preston on our bet is it's a pit pass, but you know, that's.
Well, you can't just make up the rules after the fact.
Well, it was just understood.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you understood that.
Yeah. So okay, so let's get back to Scott here. So
that's a bet. If I raced last season, I'll buy your ticket.
Yeah, exactly. And if you didn't, then I'll buy yours.
This year, when we get to a race, because everything's gonna be back to normal again.
Yeah, God, I hope so, man. I hope so. So we're, yeah. So that's something to look forward to. Then I got hopefully a couple races to look forward to. We'll see what happens. So, how long you been iRacing?
Since April.
Since April. I know you came in the league, and we moved you up real quick because you were pretty quick out of the gate, and you've been in the Rebels now. And I used to see you around my end of the track, but even moving up, and it's hard to keep up with you these days.
Yeah, I've just been practicing and running races. That's it. So, the car seems to be going faster and faster. I'm just hanging on.
Well, the one thing I think, we had Alex Bergeron on last week, and he does one-on-ones. But I think, didn't you do some lessons with somebody?
Well, I did take a lesson with Alex, and he is absolutely fantastic.
It was Alex you did it with.
Well, that was with the one, and the other one I'm in the School of Sim Racing Road to Pro program. So we have a live session every 2 weeks on Saturday morning. So noon or before noon would be good for me too for that new Cup League. Just to put that out there. But yeah, we have a live session every 2 weeks, and we have 4 classes during the week, which are just video classes, and then practice. But really, it's just laps. I've just been getting a lot of laps running. I mean, your afternoon races are a big help. Low stress, low key.
Yeah.
I mean, green to green. I mean, green to checker to weed sport with no cautions.
Yeah, we did. I think we did 2 weeks in a row, either 360s or 305s, or we had three races. I think in the 2 weeks we went flag to flag, which with about 18 guys on the track. So,
yeah.
But I think too we find the tracks are really get slicked up, and a lot of guys that's newer for them, and I really think it's I know it's helping me. Dealing with those tracks for sure, and I just wish it transferred to Monday nights, but so far it doesn't. But that's because we keep bringing guys like you up from the other divisions, and I keep filtering. I keep sliding to the back again. So
don't blame it on me.
I think you're ahead of me in the standings significantly, buddy. But it's great to have you. You're a great clean racer, and it's really enjoyable that way. So a few other questions. I noticed in your bio you were a Marine.
I was. Infantry machine gunner. Yep. Qualified me for nothing in the real world.
Well, you got a lot in common with Jeff Barker, because he's an ex-Marine, and Andy Patton, he was Air Force. So
speaking of guys that are always in front of me, I have to look at Jeff Barker's Marine Corps car every Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, there you go.
He always ends up right in front of me in the grid.
Yes, yeah. I'm always chasing him too, it seems. And actually, I think I bounced off him today. Jeff, but
8 tires are better than 4, even in a sprint car. Roger, just go with it.
Yeah. So without checking, are you just running sprint cars with us? Have you been out with the dirt modifieds, or?
No, I'm trying to focus just on that 410, as a matter of fact, for now. I've run the 360 on Monday night, because that's a fun league.
Yep.
And the 410s on Thursday, I try and make every single week. And the other 2 fixed during the week, I try and run. But
so are you running 410s in any other leagues or anything? Or
yeah, I'm in a couple different leagues.
Yeah? And how are you doing?
Well, that guy you had on your last podcast? I get to watch him. I get to watch him drive off into the sunset.
Well, if you're on the track with them, that alone is saying something, buddy. Because I know I was lucky. I was in an official race I haven't been in an official race in a year, I'd say. But the one race I got in, and Alex was in there. And it's just that's cool. No, yeah. I know what. You know what? It was when they had Elite last year, and I transferred into an Elite race, and Alex was in, so I could say I raced with Alex.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
The other leagues I'm in, yesterday in the NARC league, I think we had 8 or 9 pros or something like that in there. So, but I keep making the features. I'm nowhere near the front, but
so that's it's all good, man. Just being on the track with those guys, for sure.
Yeah, and if they get a new paint job, I can look at it before the race, and then when they pass me again, I can look at it again. It's beneficial.
I know what you mean by that.
So you said you started iRacing back in April. Were you doing any sim racing prior to that, or is it just a new hobby that new?
Just a new hobby. No gaming, no anything.
Yeah.
She's been working from home too, so it was either I find a hobby or we're going to talk all day. so here I am with my wheel.
I got you.
And I got a free PC from a friend, and I just run it on a single monitor with my dining room chair, and that's how it is for now.
Yeah, that's how I got started.
What kind of wheel is that?
What's that?
Yeah. What kind of wheel you got there?
T300 RS. Oh, okay. But with the cheap pedals, I don't have any load cells in my pedals.
Oh, you're still kicking my ass, damn it. I got a video here of Gary Taylor came over. Like Gary and he's just 2 doors down. We don't see each other anymore because of the whole COVID crap. But he did come over. They lifted the the freeze on. You know, you had to be home and stay at home type thing. And so, anyways, he came over to try my VR and pedals. I got a short video of watching him race. I should have brought that on and had Preston load that up because it was fun to watch him.
I don't know if I could get into VR. When I get a new PC, I'm going to get triples for sure. But
so yeah, I got triples, but my experience is like it's more the immersion effect. Preston. I think we both found the pedals, the V3 pedals, they help a lot. I think you become a better racer with VR. I remember talking to, I've told the story before, I think, but Steve Goldner, back when we could all get together, we were up at the Burger Barn up by Ashwaubenon, and I said to him, like, geez, you've been winning a lot lately. What are you doing different? He says, nothing. And then about 10 seconds later, he says, oh, I got VR. And it made night and day, this Goldner. Like, he was fast before, but nowhere near as fast as he is now. So it hasn't done that for me, but the immersion effect is pretty awesome. But
yeah, I think some of it could be too that a lot of guys, even running triples, will run the wrong like field of view, and you have some settings that'll actually affect. And that's one thing, whether you're running a single monitor or triples or whatever, getting that field of view right makes a huge difference. And so I think with the VR, the field of view is naturally correct. Like it can't be wrong, and so. That could be part of it too. I think the immersion, like you're saying, is being able to look through the corners. You know, I can turn my head and occasionally peek under the wing, you know, to see who's on my right hand side. It makes a difference. There are definitely guys that are better on triples than VR, so it's not for everybody. But I would say if you have the opportunity to give it a go, try it at least. Because I mean, if nothing else, it's a blast.
Yeah. I'd like to try it.
It's cool.
I need a PC upgrade first, so
yeah, you want to
get. And my wife's an accountant, so I got a long way to go. But the good news is, I'm going to have a free pit pass to a race this year. Because my first Geforce recruiting race was 11/18 of 20.
What was it?
11/18 of 2020.
Our season didn't start till mid-December.
So
you were there,
that was
buddy.
The recruiting.
Well, we said that counts, right? Preston, you're the witness. We said recruiting counts.
Oh, man.
Well, we're going to have to rewind the tape.
Well, no, we don't have to rewind anything. I'm going to really drag this out, too. So I'll remind Roger that he's really been bragging about beating me in a bet for a whole week now. So...
Old guys rule.
If you look at the recruiting standings on iRacing League Manager, it's one long season. So it's kind of like that season started, you know, almost a year ago.
You're turning on me. You're turning on.
Well, yeah, a little bit, but man, I really have to be the bad guy here, don't I? You know what?
We'll
Forget it. It's not up to me. Everybody else is going to see this too. So if you're watching this, put it in the comments. Who do you think wins the bet?
Yeah.
And the people can decide. Might not be good for you, Roger. But
yeah, if it turns into a popularity contest, I'm screwed. So the other interesting thing on your history, you're a math. Do you have a master's or?
No, I have a bachelor's degree in pure mathematics. Yeah.
Pure mathematics. Yeah, that's right.
Which I also don't use in my daily life.
Yeah, I know. Wow, I think that happens.
But I have it.
Yes, you do.
It's keeping place on the wall till I get that Geforce trophy.
I have to ask, and maybe I'm going to make myself seem stupid, but what is pure mathematics?
Well, you know all the math you see and use every day? It's none of that.
Okay. Is it like discrete math? I'm pretty familiar with that, but
it's linear algebra, real analysis.
Okay.
Proofs.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, the boring side.
Exactly. I can't calculate my fuel mileage in a sprint car.
I was in taking honors math at Waterloo University, which is like one of the top universities in the world. Really, it's for the whole computer background. And but that was in 1969, and I lasted like 3 months. And my computer courses, it was all like mainframe stuff back then, and punch cards and all that stuff. So I'm really dating myself, man.
When I started programming computers, it was on an IBM AS400 with a black screen and green letters. That was it. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your relationship with Howard Hanna Real Estate, and we're really can't say enough about you. Stepped up right out of the box and sponsored us and supporting the league, and we really appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about how long you've been there and all about it.
Well, the league's great, and a couple of guys on my team, the Wide Open Motorsports, Trent. They had nothing but good things to say about the league, so that was a no-brainer when I was looking to sponsor one. But Howard Hanna, I'm an independent contractor, but my license is with Howard Hanna as the real estate broker. So I get to spend all the money on the sponsorship, and their name gets to be on it. But I can help anybody, and so far from iRacing, I've had 2 phone calls to help people anywhere in the United States, basically. And some places we have reciprocal things where I could get a referral, and others we don't. But it doesn't matter because I just want to help people. And if I get a little bit of referral money, that's just more money.
Yeah,
you can put back into iRacing anyway. So
that's important to make sure everybody, especially our American drivers, know that no matter where they are in North America or in the United States, that you can help them get, if not yourself, you can hook them up with the right real estate agent or whatever. So
exactly, because if they don't know one, I know it looks on TV like we're all the same and we don't do much but make phone calls, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on. There's a lot of questions that need asked if you never bought a house to find somebody that's going to make sure you get. It's not like you're buying a car. So two people already find them.
That's from our league, or
no? Actually, one is from that SSR program I'm in, and then another was just some guy I run into in officials all the time.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I can speak, from experience. At my age, I've been through about 7 houses, and yes, there are good agents, and there are others I don't even want to talk about. So if you find a good agent, you want to hold on to them because they can save you a ton of money for sure. So
exactly. If something goes wrong and you end up in court, your real estate agent's the one that's there, not an attorney. So having your friend's friend who got their real estate license help you out.
I'm shocked how many people do that. I'm totally shocked. It just amazes me. Like, I've always, take the emotion out because this is a business deal, and you're dealing with it could be your retirement fund in the end. So
exactly,
be wise.
I don't spend any money advertising, really. Most of my business is all word of mouth. And somehow last year I beat the year before, even though I was at home for, since April. Yeah. Partly because of the pandemic and partly because I got addicted to iRacing. That happens. And then, but the only advertising I do is just, I sponsor Geforce and I sponsor another league that I started with a long time ago, but that's it.
So you've only been in iRacing since April, but do you have a background in racing, or did you grow up with dirt? Or?
Well, I grew up, my dad owned a towing company, and I grew up with him. We used to go to the drag strip every Friday night. And then years down the road, his drivers would go tow at a place called Motordrome. It's a short, maybe half a mile. It's closed now, but asphalt track. Mm-hmm. And then in my older age, I was working for a guy, and he had a street stock at Lernerville. So I would go there with him and drive the wrecker at Lernerville.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And then help him in the pits. Well, I'd hold the flashlight while he worked. I'm the best flashlight holder. No shadows. You can see what you're doing. no ability to fix a car.
So I got to ask you. At Lernerville, are there boats over at the bottom of between the two? There are boats down there.
Yep. There's more stuff than is in iRacing over that hill. One time, actually, my buddy, when he went over the top, his drive shaft broke and dug into the dirt. When he went over the top, the drive shaft broke, came out, dug into the dirt, launched his car all the way down to the bottom. So his drive shaft's there somewhere. There's all kinds of stuff down there. But you know what? There's not that gigantic bump you hit coming out of the pits going onto the track. That bump's not there in real life.
It's not. Oh, okay.
But the pit entrance towing a car with the wrecker, you hang a race car way back. So the front end of the wrecker is way up in the air. And you have to come off and go down to that pit entrance. And it's as scary in real life as it is in iRacing.
No kidding, eh?
All you can see is a little streamer of lights hanging between the poles.
Wow. So it's got to be cool to be on a track that you've actually been on. Like, so did they? I know, like Doug Elkins used to race at Weedsport, and he said they nailed it. So basically the same for Lernerville. They nailed it. Would you say?
It's exactly like the real track.
And you find like your car handles.
This year, the real track widened the cushion a little bit, so you're not all the way up on the top. But
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And by widen, I mean just another foot or two. But yeah, that's what they did this year. But other than that, it's perfect. I mean, all the stuff's where it is.
That's cool.
You swear you're really there.
Yeah. That's why
first day on iRacing, I went and drove my car into the infield where I would sit there in the wrecker and took a screenshot. So I have the exact same picture in iRacing and the real world.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's very cool, man. I know we've been at Volusia this week, and Preston and I almost met there. You've probably heard that story before. But we were there a year before we started the league and didn't know each other. We were 2 rows apart. We found that out in a conversation one day. And
really?
Yeah. So it's but it's kind of cool. I guess Volusia's the only track I've been to that you know. So it's pretty cool. You look around, everything's where it's supposed to be. So
come down to Lernerville.
Well, that's that's
it's
the
probably
plan.
an hour and a half north of me. It's out in the middle of nowhere. They don't have street lights, so I like to make it back to the city before dark.
That's kind of like Volusia. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So,
but it's a great track.
That's awesome.
It's exactly the same as it is in iRacing as it is in real life.
That's excellent.
The same double pit exit. When sometimes cars go through the right one, sometimes they go through the one on the left is supposed to be for emergency vehicles to get out.
So
there's that guardrail right there.
Yeah. So in the real life, do guys get hung up on the guardrail like we do? They really?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, it's that narrow for them as well.
Yeah, and the hardest part of the whole track is turn 4. You know, that's the same as real life. Everybody slaps the wall in turn 4.
And anybody ever get nailed coming out of the pits like we do?
Not that I saw. I think they're a bit more careful than that. I've also never seen the pace truck jump 20 feet coming out of the pits either.
Yeah, they didn't quite get that one nailed down.
They should have taken the guy out of the wrecker and put him in the pace truck, and maybe they could have pulled it off.
The guy in the wrecker will definitely do that, especially when I was driving the wrecker. I'll tell you what, you can get the tow truck pretty sideways going around the turn. I didn't have a race car. Why not play with the tow truck? Don't let anybody see this.
So I'll ask you the same question I ask everybody.
Yep.
And I'm kind of referring specifically to our league. I know you're in a few. But as far as Geforce goes, who would you say is your biggest rival out on the track?
I don't know in the 360s, but in the 410 fixed league, Ross Corinto would be one.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Who was that guy just battled in that 2-person consolation race?
Oh, it was Donovan Ross. So
Yep.
Preston, we had the one day
We qualified the exact same time.
They had quick time, identical quick time, and then they both got punted during their heat. So it comes to the consi, it's just the two of them. So, and it said no pressure, but everybody's watching you. It was the greatest race. You guys were swapping the lead and doing slide jobs on each other. It was an awesome. It was the best race of the day. It was one of the best races I've watched. It was really good.
Yeah, if you got the replay, we'll go back. I'll pull the video and we can post it in the lounge or something.
Yeah,
that was a really fun race, and we both had something to prove since we tied with exact same qualifying times.
How'd you make? Did you win that? Did Donovan? That was Lernerville.
He's not here, so I'm going to say I won that.
Yeah, well, I think that was Lernerville, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Donovan always runs Donovan's quicker than hell, but somewhere along the line, a lot of times he ends up that wall you said a lot of guys find. Yeah. I think he found it the odd time, but that was awesome. The two of you were just you'd think two guys, one guy's going to get in front and that's it, it's over. But no, it was like we
battled from start to finish in that heat. We finished probably a half a car away from each other.
Yeah, it was spectacular. It was spectacular.
So I would say those two are the two that I can that are always at the end of the race right there with me.
Yeah. Well, they're good guys to be with because they're fast, that's for sure. And Ross is he's a quick guy. He was quick tonight in the elite race that just finished. I think he finished third. So that's cool. So my question always is your greatest iRacing moment.
They're all great moments. I'd rather be iRacing miserable than doing something else.
Well,
actually, you know what? I have two. During the officials at Kokomo this year, I won 2 official races. My first 2 410 wins.
Oh,
at Kokomo. So
yeah,
that was a pretty good day. Because those 410 races, there's always a couple guys that. Yeah. I mean, you set the quick time, and a couple other guys are behind you, and then somebody jumps in and just makes it look like you were driving backwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Like
something about Kokomo and Charlotte. I like both of those tracks.
Yeah, it's funny how it's never the same for any two guys, but everybody's got those couple of tracks that almost just come natural. Like it's you can't put your finger on why you're good there. It's not. I mean, you can almost just swap setups. It doesn't seem to matter. You just for some reason have the feel of the track figured out.
Exactly, and that's the complete opposite from me of Volusia. I'm not fast at Volusia. I can't figure it out.
Well, that's Preston's favorite track.
Yeah, and see, and that's interesting to me because you would think for it would be just basically the same, where there'd be tracks where it was just easier, but it's not that way at all. Do you find yourself preferring to like rip the lip, or do you prefer to run around the bottom?
Yeah. Up at the top.
Okay.
Charlotte and Kokomo, I want to feel and see that car just bouncing everywhere. That way I know I hit the cushion just right and just go. But everywhere else, they can't seem to get it figured out. The bottom, Trent can run the bottom better than just about
Trent always runs the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's so much harder to get your foot off of the gas to go through a corner than it is to smash it down and get through a corner.
It is very hard to be consistent. I find myself switching based on tracks because I'm on a team with one guy who won't leave the bottom and then another guy who is running the highest gear you can and running the top. And so I'm lucky because I get to pick setups basically, whichever one I feel like running. But I do find it is a little bit harder to be more consistent at the bottom. For one, the bottom's wearing out terrible. And when that cushion's gone, it's gone. But especially as the race gets later and you're pushing harder and harder, and you got to keep telling yourself, I got to back way out of it to get through this corner. And so, not that it's easier, but I think it's more comfortable to consistently run the top over and over again.
I got to step in I got a small technical problem here. I got to step away for a second, and I'll be right back. But if you guys just carry on the conversation here.
Okay.
So there's your challenge.
Okay. I'm not sure what's happening. A technical challenge doesn't seem correct to me, but I think if I had to guess, this may have something to do with trying to settle the bet, because I feel like Roger might think he's getting ready to lose.
And, you know, to that, running the top's not bad, but if you jump that cushion or if you tap the wall, I mean, it's...
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, Lernerville's one, I know I'm faster at the top. And that's one of those tracks where it's opposite, right? So you have to be just as consistent at the top as the bottom, because you slip up, goodbye. And that's why I'm not I'm a bottom runner. I'm a bottom feeder at Lernerville, for sure.
Yeah, but and then if you watch the pros, I mean, you got Bergeron and Tyler Schell, pretty much 1 and 2 almost all the time. I mean, not to short any of the other guys, but those are the ones you see a lot. Tyler's at the top and Bergeron's on the bottom.
Yeah, but Bergeron can run anywhere. That's the
Well, and to me, that's what makes iRacing great, is because if you figure out and you learn how to set up a car, you can set it up to run where you want it to. I mean, you're not going to be able to run your way through the slick all the way around the track, but if you want to run the bottom, you figure out how to set it up, and you can win races down there. If you want to run the top, you figure out how to set it up, you can win races up there too.
I look at it a little different. I mean, you need to have it set up so the car fits you.
Well, yeah. But
nothing's going to overtake practice.
That's true too. That is very
laps
true.
And laps and laps.
So when you practice, you practice on your own, or do you?
I ran a couple hundred laps at Fairbury, just the bottom line this morning.
So what do you do? Just slick it right off? You put it at like 80% or something? Or
this morning I just did a time trial, because you get safety rating with a time trial.
Yeah, right.
After yesterday's Fairbury races, I needed some more safety rating. So I started a time trial and just kept running and running and running and running. But like when I practice by myself, normally I'll set it 80% to 100% to practice with. But it's not really realistic, because there's no middle line.
Yeah, I know.
The pre-gen stuff just isn't the same.
Let me ask you about this, the stuff you're doing, that course you're taking. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when we first we're doing that and going over all the driving stuff, we would have to do 1,000 laps here, 1,000 laps there. I mean, just laps and laps and laps.
That's with the driving school?
Yeah, well, we would work on one thing for that day. You know, like running the cushion at Kokomo. So is it how does that work? Do you have an instructor, or is it just videos all the time, or it's one-on-one? School of Sim Racing puts it on. Tommy Brandon, the guy that runs the School of Sim Racing, usually does the videos. And then we have a couple pros that are in the class too that will teach us and help us and try and get us to do things. But then they can teach us everything. It's really hard to put that onto the track.
Yeah.
You can know everything in the world, but putting it down, like running the bottom, I know to let out on the throttle, roll around the corner, and get back in when I'm straight. But try and do that.
Yeah, right.
It's like golf. You just got to hit the little ball in the hole, right?
Yeah, but you do a pretty good job on it, man.
Oh, don't get Roger started on golf.
No, we don't want to talk about golf.
No, I don't know anything about golf other than the fact the ball's supposed to go in the hole.
The stupidest game I've ever seen in my life. It's stupid.
But that's pretty much what the class does. I mean, for the first 6 or 7 weeks, it was just driving thing. You know, we would go out and run 500 laps through the slick in the middle at Lanier. And after a while, you start to figure it out. But it's to teach you, you know, if you slide off the bottom or if you come off the cushion and you're in the slick, you got to get out of it. So we did all that stuff. Now we're on to, we build our own setups and stuff now. I build all my own setups. So, I don't know. But setup, it doesn't really a lot of people put a lot of stuff into setups. If you have something that works semi-decent, you know, not the iRacing really wobbly sprint car setup, just practice driving it will make you faster.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I'm loose coming out of 2 at Fairbury on the bottom, but everywhere else my setup's perfect. So if I fix it to come out of 2 a little better, now I just screwed up 3 other corners. So that's why I just run laps and laps and laps.
Awesome. And who's all on your team?
Trent.
Trent
Verstraeten, Zane Walters, Chris Forsythe, Chris Schaefer. We're all in Geforce, as a matter of fact. Tyler Wilson.
Who was the other Chris?
Chris Forsythe and Chris Schaefer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Is Trent? Does he run that team or?
Trent does run the team. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's he's turning into a monster in those big blocks. I mean, he just keeps posting wins and wins and wins in the big blocks. Is that right, eh?
Yeah.
He's a pretty slick racer, and he's been great, helping out. And we should point out too that you as well. You know, you stepped up for the review committee, and can't say enough about that. It's it's a thankless job, but it's much appreciated. Everything you do for us. So, but I got to go back. I got to go back and check as soon as we finished our podcast stuff. I got to go back and check and see.
Oh, we thought that's what you were doing when you had a technical problem.
No, so you know what happened? I forgot to bring my power cord. And I was down to like 5%, and I thought if it shuts down, it'll take me 10 minutes to get back in. So I thought I'd better to have an interruption, and it's probably more enjoyable conversation with me gone anyways.
We did talk about you the whole time.
I know Preston would. I don't trust him worth a nickel here.
You'll have to wait until it's published to see what we said.
I'll have to watch Sunday for sure now. I'll have to set the timer to watch it now and see what you guys said.
What do you run, Preston? I don't think we've run together a whole lot.
No, I have not run into you on the track. I'm on Renegades, so that's predominantly what I run. I run Elite, didn't make the race tonight, and then occasionally I'll run midgets, but that's as of now, that's about it.
Well, if we run midgets, I'll run into you on the track then.
Oh well, I've at least for this season officially hung up my midget hat. I was actually the first couple of races I ran really well and had a chance at winning one of them, and then I've been an absolute liability ever since. Took a couple of guys out accidentally. I didn't do anything stupid, but I just hitting the wall and crap. So I'm getting out of everybody's way.
I've driven them once. That was enough.
You know what?
I like them, but
you know why he hung up his hat? It's because I beat him the one night.
Oh yeah, well that'll make you
when Roger beats you, it's time to hang up.
That's not what it is at all. But anyway, well, Scott,
you've run me down a couple times in a sprint car, Roger. There's something. I'll look in my mirror and you're right there behind me.
There's been a few times, but you usually then you're gone. I can't, And
there was that one time in Williams Grove. Two guys wrecked in front of me. I looked in my mirror. Roger was right behind me, and I thought, "Oh, we're both taking this one."
Yeah.
That ended that race pretty quick.
Yeah. Well,
you've been on the bottom too lately.
Yeah. Terry Landis does a lot of coaching with me, and Terry's a bottom feeder, so it's safer down there, especially like in places like Lernerville. At least I can stay on the track when I'm down there. So. But I got to get better at running the lip, that's for sure. So I was that's what I was doing today. We had the 360s today at Volusia, and I tried to stay high the whole race just to, as that cushion got thinner and thinner, it was more of a challenge, and you're bouncing around a little bit up there, but I was sticking it out. So
is that where the 410s are at tomorrow?
Yep, Volusia, or as Gary Taylor calls it, Volusia.
Well, I'll do my best.
Anyway, buddy, it's been great having you on, and I love racing with you anytime you're on the track. And Preston might get to see you next year he might be down in Rebels, or you might be up in Renegades. So you never know. But
I might be down one too. It's still early, Roger.
I'm the one struggling to stay in Rebels, but I finally got my IL down. That was a struggle all year, and I think that's what Preston's struggling with right now too with Renegades. Is you're pretty close though, right? I think you're.
Yeah. I actually I was looking pretty poor, and then I ran into an incident this past week, but I was getting ready to log off, and I figured, there's still 20 laps here. I need to go and put some time out and just run at the back.
Yep.
And so it made a big difference, and I just kind of stayed out of the way the best I could, and that helps. So need a couple more clean races, and I'll be fine.
Even in officials, that's the key. Don't disconnect.
Yeah.
I mean, go back out if you can. That's you might gain a couple spots, plus you're going to get all your percentages better.
Right.
So that's
my IL might be getting pretty high too. The last couple of tracks have been some tight tracks where it was tough to get around if something happened.
I was struggling last week at Wheat Sport because my IL is bad, and I had a heat EOL. So I thought, okay, I'll just run around the back. But then the competitive side comes out and you're mixing up. But I think I survived okay. But I'm at a 203. I'm at a 203. So if I get a top 10, I still can't transfer. So I got to get it down a little bit more before.
You were right behind me that whole race too. Wheat Sport.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah.
I was running the high line and you were down on the low line. And
yes, I remember. That's right. Yep. The green machine was up there. I saw it. Yeah.
I don't want this to sound bad, but I looked in my mirror and thought, that's Roger already.
That's like, you're not doing well when you see Roger in the mirror.
Well, I knew you started in the back, and I love that track, and I just thought, wow, everybody's catching me, so I better do something.
Yeah. That's a tough track, man. That's for sure.
That's another favorite. I like that track.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that.
It's very Lernerville-like. It has the one tight corner and another bigger corner.
Yeah.
Of course, Lernerville doesn't have that turn one wall that just comes out and hits the car.
No, I know. For sure. It is a tough one. But
yeah, we appreciate you coming on, Scott. It's been fun catching up with you. I personally, like I said, we have run into each other a whole lot, so I didn't know a lot about you, but it's been fun getting to know you, and hopefully we'll get to race together here soon.
Yep, sounds like a plan to me. All right, guys, it's been fun talking to you, and I will see you tomorrow at Volusia.
See you at Volusia, buddy.
Unless I can come up with an excuse between now and then.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Take care. And we're here with another special guest, Ben Kelch. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great, Roger. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I just found out about 2 minutes ago that I've been pronouncing your name wrong. I've been saying Koelsch, and it's Kelch. So we were cheering for you. We were cheering for your dad at the Chili Bowl and cheering for the wrong name, evidently. So, anyways, welcome to the podcast, buddy. Glad to have you aboard it. And before we go too much farther, too, just want to thank you for your service. You're in the Navy, and appreciate everything you do, buddy.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Appreciate the love and support for people that do, and not obviously not just me, but everybody even that can't come home or unfortunately haven't come home. Even them, like people like you guys, that support us. That goes a long ways.
Yeah. I can't say enough about everything that you guys do. I know I'm in Canada, but I still appreciate what the American military does as well. So where are you stationed or based?
So right now I'm in Patuxent River, Maryland, on a naval air station.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to say you've been around quite a while, and so you started your service how long ago?
Let's see. So I enlisted in 2015. Went to boot camp. Did the whole yelling and the whole all that. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. But that was in Chicago, Illinois, and then you do what's called A school. So basically, like, you learn how to do your job and everything. You learn what you're going to do, and you pick. So before you even get in, you pick what you're going to do, and then when you go to boot camp, you already know what you're going to be doing. So after you graduate boot camp, you go to A school, which I'm what's called an aviation ordnanceman. So all the bombs, missiles, stuff like that that's on F-18s that get dropped or launched or whatever, we're the ones that build those and put them on the aircraft. So when I went to A school, which is in Pensacola, Florida, that was about 6 months or so. And then I finished like second or third in my class or something like that. Maybe fourth, I don't really remember, but I ended up picking San Diego, California. I was on an aircraft carrier for 3.5 years, 4 years. Yeah, about 4.5. I was there in San Diego, California. I did 2 deployments with them. Did what's called a RIM pack, which is basically kind of playing war games with like 47 other countries or something like that around Hawaii. So you do that. That was like a month and a half, 2 months or something like that. Pulled back in, and then that next January, we went to what's called dry dock. So they kind of gut out the ship and take all the racks, that we sleep in. They redo the galley where, we eat and stuff like that. So they gutted all that out in the dry dock, and that was up in Bremerton, Washington, about, I don't know, an hour west of Seattle. And then it kind of came down to, should I re-enlist or what should I do? And so I kind of decided, I'm going to re-enlist. I'm going to do this. And so I got orders to a P-8 squadron, which is basically a 737. And then you got some missiles, a torpedo that they can launch, some other fun stuff on it. So now that is in here in Patuxent River, Maryland. And then you go to C school before that. That was in Jacksonville, Florida. So went down there for, I think that was about 4 months, 3 months, something like that. And then from there, went back home on leave for 20 days or something like that, and then came up here.
So I think it must have been about the time you were going to C school, was around the time you had joined the review committee, because I remember right. You had to take some time off, and that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I truthfully, and please don't take offense to this, I thought you were probably a little younger than that and had pretty recently enlisted, so I was mistaken.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely missed out on it. I couldn't. I was at a hotel the whole time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Finally ended up like being able to even race.
Yeah.
So and then I got that laptop, so I could even do the reviews.
Yeah.
So we have to get you hooked up with Andy Patton sometime, because he was a crew chief on F-18s.
F-16s.
F-16s. Okay.
Mm-hmm. No kidding.
Yeah, so Air Force, Navy, but I mean, you guys got a lot in common. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Andy's a real cool dude. Actually, if you go back to one of our early podcasts, he talks about Desert Storm and a lot of the stuff that he was involved with. So yeah.
Those Desert Storm guys, man, they're
yeah.
I got a
yeah. But you also raced in the real world, I think. Did you not in your younger days?
Yeah. So this is actually, if my mom is watching this, I am so sorry. But kind of, obviously I had been wanting to race because my dad, he'd been racing since he was like 14 or something. But so, I'd beg my mom to get in the car. No. And finally, my 16th birthday, literally, I will never forget this. My mom finally told me. My mom was actually the one that told me, hey, I told your dad I'll let you put him in a sprint car or whatever, or in a micro. And so I got so excited, and literally like the morning of my birthday, my dad sent me a picture of the car he bought me from Dylan Cadis, and sent me a picture of it sitting in the shop, and said happy birthday, blah 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 blah. And yeah, I was at the shop like every single day working on that thing.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So I raced in raced micro sprints out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, in Port City Raceway. Raced there with A class. Actually, shout out to this guy, Chris Andrews. He's a good buddy of mine. Yeah, I did that pretty much for, I don't know, 3 years or something like that until I left for the Navy. And then actually my last race was on like 4th of July weekend of 2015. That's something else. Like you get into one of those things and you do this and you have that emotional connection, with racing, and then you kind of like, you have your last race, dude. I paced around the track for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 laps because I didn't want to get out. And then I swear when I got back to the pits, I was probably sitting in the car for like 20 minutes.
What, did you know that was your last race?
Yeah, I knew. So I left July 7th of 2015 to boot camp, and that weekend was my last race. Yeah, and actually my dad, so he does the national anthem for the Chili Bowl as well. But
yes, we're gonna get to that.
They got him. Fair enough. They got him to play the national anthem at Port City that night, and so then I paced around the track, and then we put like an American flag on the back of my car, and because my car it was all done up with Navy stuff, and honestly, looking back at it, I don't know why I did that, but I was
man,
proud of it.
Be proud of it, man.
Yeah, man. So was the crowd aware that this was your last race and that you were going off? Or?
Yeah, they kind of made an announcement. They said, I don't know, they said something about Ben, one of our hometown guys, Benjamin, is going off to Navy boot camp. And so then they had my dad do the national anthem. I paced around the track with the flag. And then they had, there's a bunch of veterans there, obviously. So they were all like sitting in the infield. And so then when I got out, I shook all their hands and stuff like that. They told me good luck. Because there was like either 2 or 3 guys that were in the Navy. And then there was an Air Force guy, and I want to say somebody was in the Marines. I'm honestly not entirely sure. Plus, that was like, running on almost 6 years now. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That
was definitely an emotional night.
What an awesome memory that is. That's cool. So we've been cheering for your dad, Kenny, at the Chili Bowl, and he did great. It was it
was definitely a series of unfortunate events. Kind of had some fuel injection issues, or not fuel injection issues, just fuel problems basically. I think there was an injector problem. I'm honestly not entirely sure, but yeah, other than that, I mean, to run a midget for the very first time, that to me, and obviously I'm kind of biased, but to me, for my dad, and to be able to see that too, that was kind of that was really cool because Flo had it, and it was very. I was jealous because obviously I've never been in a midget. I can't tell you, like, when he told me, and honestly, so Dad, I'm talking to you. I'm gonna take full credit for putting him in that because I swear I even have the texts. He wasn't gonna do it. So he recently got married, or remarried, and he was kind of worried about that whole deal. And so I was like, Dad, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, what if he never, like asks again, or what if nobody asks again, or you just don't want to do it? Like, come on, you got it. Like, you're gonna be an idiot if you don't do it. And so he obviously ended up doing it, and then
and he's your dad, so he's not getting any younger either, right? So,
yeah.
So no, I was I love cheering for the old guys, and but it was great despite all those the challenges they had. He really showed well.
In his heat he had, I think, Justin Grant, or was it? Who was it? I don't know. It was one of those NOS guys, or not the NOS guys, but the Colossal Marshall guys.
Yeah.
I honestly want to say it was Justin Grant, because I know Wyndham wasn't in his. Yeah, I want to say it was Justin Grant, but yeah, it was good for a while, and then it started losing power, and obviously, with the midgets, you kind of, in my opinion, especially at the Chili Bowl, a small track, you kind of gotta use the throttle more to turn it, and so not having power, it was really tight and kind of couldn't really stay up there, so unfortunately, kind of dropped back a little bit. But again, the first time in the midget and you're leading most of the race, and dealing with power problems, yeah,
that's a handful.
That already did it for me. I was like, all right, you're awesome, Dad.
Yeah. So did he have a big extensive racing background?
Oh yeah. So let's see, 14, I believe. I actually just asked him this.
Yeah. So we're talking about Kenny, his dad, Kenny Kelch, and who is a member in the league. I haven't seen him on the track lately, but hopefully he'll be back out. It's always great seeing the father-son combos, like Preston.
Oh yeah, it's definitely cool with me because when I grew up racing, he was in outlaw or multi, whatever the guys call it now. But he was an outlaw and multi, and then of course I was in A class. So there was only a couple times where I maybe hot lapped with him, but that was about it.
Yeah, no, that's and I always thought it was really cool. Not only like the father-son thing, like I know Barry and Steve Goldner, and there's Preston, there's a few others in the league, but especially in your case, where you guys are, halfway across the country from each other, and here's something right. you can get on the track and do. So that's cool. So I got a couple of questions because I was laying. This is the stupid stuff you think of when you're laying in bed. I've been on a submarine, and I mean that's cramped.
Right.
So I started wondering, like an aircraft carrier, like do you get your own room? Do you get it, or is it still compressed? Is it still compressed space for living quarters, or do you? It can't be as bad as a submarine, but I mean, how is it?
It's not that bad. You got in a sub. Honestly, in subs nowadays, they're a lot bigger than they were. The ones like if you
back in Rogers' day.
Oh yeah, dude, those were. I don't even know how those guys came out alive. Honestly, I would go insane. But I mean, so you basically have a top rack, a middle rack, and a bottom rack, and then half the time, which kind of depends on what division you're in or what let me rephrase that, department. So me being an AO, aviation ordnance, I was in what's called G3 weapons division, or G3 division weapons department. So that berthing, the G3 berthing, is like 147 people or something like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has 147 people. So there was probably still about 120 people, but so you kind of get cases where you either don't have anybody in the middle rack, or don't have anybody in the bottom rack, or don't have anybody in the top rack. But so they're set up so you have a cubicle is what it's called. So you have the top, middle, and then bottom rack. So you have 6 people in a cubicle, and then sometimes not all those people are on the same shift, because obviously if we deploy or if we go underway or something like that, you have 2 different shifts because it has to operate 24/7. So you have maybe, we'll say 3 of those guys are on days, and then 3 of those guys are on nights.
Right. So another question, because Ryan, I'm hoping I'm getting the name right, Ryan Stanfield, who races with us, he's on an aircraft carrier in Japan. Yeah. So how does that work? Like, is he on that aircraft carrier all the time? Like, he would race with us, and I'm wondering, is he racing out of the aircraft carrier, or has he got a barrack somewhere?
Yeah, we're allowed to stay out in town. So you can either stay in the barracks or you can stay out in town. So like when I was in, of course, boot camp is obviously live in. Like, you go to that base and you're there, you're stuck, you're screwed.
Right.
But then like when you go to A school, you have a barracks room, but you're not allowed to stay out in town. And then when you go out to the fleet, it's kind of like, whatever you want to do. Like if you have the money and you can stay out in town, you can afford to stay out in town. I was luckily I was fortunate enough to be able to live out in town. So I lived out in town in San Diego, and the only places I've actually ever lived either on the ship was there was times where I was moving, like moving commands or something like that. So there was probably like a 2-month period where I was in a barracks room, or sorry, not the barracks room. I was on the ship for 2 months. But even then, like, once you're off work, like you're done. So there's not like a curfew. Like I could, if I wanted to go sleep out in the woods, but then I was still at work the next morning at, 6 o'clock, then I was good.
Yeah. So, getting back to the league and that, you have been on the review committee for fair length of time, although you're absent for a while. But now you're about to step up to do some officiating. So
yeah, I'm definitely
that's cool.
Definitely trying to. I'm kind of stuck on working nights right now, but yeah, I'm definitely looking to help out the league. And iRacing is just, it's fun, honestly. Like it, yeah, it may not be the best at times, but honestly, man, like this is the closest I can get to racing right now. So helping out with this I love it. Why not?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
yeah.
do you find that there's a certain car you prefer to drive? You like the sprint cars the best, midgets, anything in particular?
I honestly knew that question was going to come up. Man, I want to say midget is probably my favorite, and I don't know if that's just because I have the chili bowl back home.
Yep.
But I would like to say midget's my favorite, but I'm better at sprint car.
Do you run other stuff than just dirt, or do you focus just on the dirt stuff?
No, I'm a dirt guy. So I will be honest, I tried the asphalt stuff like a few weeks ago. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
We're just firing up a Daytona League, man. It's all dirt. It's all dirt, guys. We don't even know what the rules are, half of us. So it's
that's what the hard thing is, man.
Yeah, like, I know. When do you
I
pit?
pulled out and I got a black flag. I was like, what did I do?
I know. That question's asked every week.
Yep.
But so you work shifts then?
Yeah.
So you could race in the matinee races with us. You should come out, man.
You're convincing me, yes.
Oh, they're the best. They're absolutely the best. We have some great racing, and yeah, it's
I'm honestly, I think I'm going to try the Skip Barber thing.
Again, we were just talking to Scott Hurwitt and trying to talk him into coming out, because the skippies here, it's a whole different discipline. And they're fun, and it takes a couple of races to kind of get it under your belt, or unless you run a bunch of laps. But but there's always, like Preston had said earlier, that there's always guys to run with. There's the fast guys at the front, but then there's my buddies at the back that
I was gonna say, there was one time, honestly, I think it was with you, Preston, but it was me and you, is Roger and I, and then I think you were with us, but it was like us three having like a little, just like a slide job city one night at I think it was Eldora. I think it was a 410 race, maybe. I think like all three of us wrecked or something.
Back when we ran for the fixed 410s at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been. It could
like
have been.
Us three in the back, and we were just sliding.
That sounds right. That sounds very, very possible.
Well, I would be there. I don't know about Preston, but I would have been. That's where I was. That's for sure. And wrecking would be one of the other terms that we would use on that. So tomorrow, which tomorrow's Thursday, we taped this Wednesday. 410. We run the 410s in the afternoon. So.
Oh yeah, that is right.
Yeah. So there you go. Come out and join us. 2 o'clock Eastern.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's cool. So yeah, you've got. What kind of equipment do you run?
Say again?
What kind of equipment are you running for iRacing?
So my dad actually just sent me, actually right before I went on nights, he sent me his Fanatic V3 pedals.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They're
nice.
Phenomenal, like night and day difference.
Yes.
Because I was running those old, I don't know, they're behind me, but like the pedals that came with what is this? Logitech G29.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the G29. Those pedals I was running that, and then I still have the Logitech G29 wheel.
So are you running single, triples, VR?
Just a single. That's like a single 27-inch. I'm honestly I'm getting to the point where, which it's kind of getting hard because I don't know where I'm going to be after this. So it's like, do I want to invest money into iRacing, or do I want to save it and then I get out of the military, get a real sprint car or something? So it's kind of getting time to like, what do I really want to do?
Yeah. Well, the VR option wouldn't be bad too, because then it's a lot more portable.
I have heard about that. Yeah. I honestly don't know too much about like I know like names like the Oculus or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know enough I'd have to really educate myself. That's where I was at too. Is that I didn't know anybody to try it, right.
And you don't want to buy it without knowing that you're not going to puke or whatever. And but well, I was lucky, thanks to Preston actually, because Terry Landis was having problems with his, and Preston won a sports bet and then said ahead. He's a man of his word. He said the money was going to go to buy Terry a new Oculus, which he did. And shit flows downhill. So I got the old set, which was still Terry got it working again, and
right.
so it was a great way to try it, and I fell in love with it as soon as I tried it. It's just it's a whole other world.
I would definitely. I mean, because do you get like a full field of view?
Oh yeah, you look. It's always weird because you're sitting there on the grid, and you look left to see the guy, and you're wondering why he's not looking at you. But
yeah, that is true.
It's really weird. You look down, and my legs have never been that thin for like 30 years. So
yeah,
I feel athletic when I've got my VR on.
Yeah, if you're interested in getting set up, I'll be more than happy. I know there's tons of guys in our league that'll help you too, but I kind of guide you through.
I'll definitely have to check it out. And
so somebody said to me, and I don't know, you're a young guy, you might not, but it's like looking through a ViewMaster. So the old ViewMaster, and you click the wheel.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like a 3D effect. Well, that's what it does for racing. It gives everything like a 3D. When you're running Knoxville, that lip on the inside, like you can you see the full definition of it, or you see, a guy's tail tank looks like a tail tank. It's not just one dimensional; it's multi-dimensional. So
right.
I think it definitely helps as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a whirl, and honestly that might help me, in aspects where, oh hell. Different tracks and stuff like that. There's like, Volusia, in 1 and 2. It's almost like it's got that little plateau deal, and that's tricky because you hop up over that, and you kind of lose a decent amount of speed.
Yep.
Yeah. So okay. So let me get to the questions. So your greatest iRacing memory.
Greatest iRacing memory. I'm gonna say that's gonna be a tie between winning my first 360 race. So, because I hated the 305s. They're just not fun to me. It's just like flat foot and not very much passing. On smaller tracks, they're fun because then you can kind of throw sliders. But winning my first 360 race, or getting to A class, which the Chili Bowl that iRacing ran kind of killed that for me. But yeah, that was a mess. Yeah, probably that's a tie between those two things.
So, and I'll ask my question: Who is your biggest rival in the Geforce racing leagues?
Probably Ludovic. Dude, there's been that's honestly because his name is like the first one that pops up because I remember so many times like that dude is just he's so fast at times, and like there was one race I was running, and I remember even talking to Kevin afterwards, and I was like, where did he come from? He was like at the back, and I even had a finish line pass, but then this dude, he goes around the outside of me like I was nothing and passed me and took the lead, and then I got second. Like,
yeah,
he's probably my biggest rival.
Yep.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. So, you got any more questions?
I don't think so. I don't think so. As you can see, we don't script this, so
yeah.
You did ask me about my dad.
Well, we did. We talked about his. We talked for sure about the Chili Bowl.
Yeah,
and you said
when he started out on 3-wheelers actually. So he started out on 3-wheelers and then went to flat track, I think, or something like that, and then went to 4-wheelers, and then I want to say he went to micros after that. I honestly just asked him this like the other day. He went to micros, and then he went to like IMCA modifieds, and then went back to micros, and then and then the midget. But I mean, yeah, like I said, that was since he was 14. Something like that.
Well, that's a funny story. So the way we found out he was running in the Chili Bowl, I was actually just on there, like the website, counting entries, seeing just running down, seeing what number like Chase Elliott was running and everything.
Right.
And I was going down the list, and I was trying to figure out how many drivers were like registered. So I copy and pasted it in an Excel spreadsheet, and there was something wrong with their like the way they had it laid out, so it doubled the number. Yeah. And I told Shorty, I was like, hey, yeah, there's like 600 guys signed up. And he's like, no, that's not right. So I went back to look at it.
Insane.
Yeah, right. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm actually like physically going down and counting it, and I ran across, and it said Kenny Kelch. And I'm like, is that the Kenny Kelch? And so that was when I messaged you. And sure enough, I was like, well, this, because I don't think like Roger or Shorty or I knew that you guys were as involved in racing around there as you are.
I just knew he played the national anthem. Right. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he started that. He started that back in 1990. Like he played it at the shootout because the Chili Bowl wasn't a thing that year.
Right.
And then the next year, that's when they brought him to the Chili Bowl, and so he's been doing it every year.
The man can play.
Yeah, he killed it. Yeah. He killed it.
Oh yeah, this year was, and I was with my girlfriend's parents too, and
that's
my
right.
Stepmom FaceTimed me, and so they got to see it too. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a So that's a pretty storied history you got there. That's for sure. And
yeah, hell, that was actually another kind of bitter moment. Was the year that I left for boot camp. That was kind of like, like, okay, when am I going to get to see my dad play again? Because, like, that next year no, it wasn't that next year. So, either way, the next year I didn't get to come home. And then the year after that, I was deployed during the Chili Bowl. And then the year after that, I was deployed. And then the year after that, I was in Washington State. And then the year after that, which was 2020, that's like the first one I've been to since 2015 Chili Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. That's, you talk about sacrifices people make. That's one of them. Is some of the things you love to do is just aren't within reach, at least for the short term. So, but no, we appreciate everything you do for the league. We appreciate everything you do for your country. And really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been great.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I probably hell, I'll even be the first one to admit it. I damn near cried when you asked me. I was so happy. I was like, that's the coolest thing anybody's ever asked me to do.
Oh, come on. No, you did those driving your car with the flag and your dad play it, and then you say this is going to make you cry. That's sad actually.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, hey, just think about it. You can tell people that you've been on the same podcast the week after the 3-time iRacing world champion. Yep. So you're in pretty good company. And again, like Roger said, man, I appreciate your service and everything you do for the league. You're a good dude and a lot of fun to race with. We'll see you out on the track, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. I ain't going nowhere. I will damn sure be back.
Well, hopefully we'll see you in Rebels next week. You'll be moving up. And yeah. Okay, man.
Thanks,
That was
Roger.
great.
Thanks a lot,
thanks
man.
for coming on, man.
Thanks, Preston.